What's up, guys? I haven't made a hate item, a better item tier list in a while, so I thought it would be time. And it's very good timing since we do have a few changes and a few items that have risen in popularity over the last few weeks, thanks to emblems, thanks to buffs to them. So yeah, let's just straight up start it. I try to rank them by how much these items are being used in total and how strong I think these are as well. So there's two points we want to go over. How often are they used and how strong do I think these items are in general? So let's just start straight up with the best item that I think, can be universally used on literally every single Pokemon in the game, which is Focus Band. Focus Band can be used on everything. It's just a very solid item, and you can't go wrong with using that on literally any Pokemon. So deserves the first category. Then we have Cookie, which I think is a decent item, but it's still only used by a few. Trevenant, Greedent are probably the main parts. Any tank that maybe wants to stack a score sheet as well. There have been some Cookie Talonflames. Still only used by a few, but it's a decent item. So this doesn't mean these items are bad, just how much they are being used in general, and it's a fine item. Then we have the Sword Vest, which is also used by a few right now. It can actually be quite good in the current Glaceon Mew meta, but still missing a bit more. Again, you never really understand who you play against, what your opponents are, so it's still just that it's the one problem this item has, not knowing who you play against. Attack Weight is still a very good item. Still pretty much used by almost 90% of attackers, like Greninja, Machamp, Lucario, you name them, Serena, even Trevenant, Greedent, all those Pokemon use attack weight, and it's very, very good item that's used by a lot of Pokemon. Buddy Barrier is also still used a good amount. It has dropped down quite a lot. A lot of Pokemon don't use it anymore just because there's less team fighting going on, but I think it's still a good survivor tool. Like, I use it on Delphox or Gardevoir or Espeon, just so I have some sort of shield when I cast my Unite move, because you can have to walk into your opponent sometimes to cast things as well. And then you can also obviously still play it on Defender or Supports if you really want to, but in general its use has dropped a decent amount. Choice Specs is probably the most used special attack item there is, so it deserves a very good, almost used on every single special attacker there is. Then we have the Energy Amp and Shellbell combo, which is used a good amount. We have the Double Core Reduction. Spoiler, or just a reminder, these items have to be level 30 as well for the full use. To get the full cooldown reduction on them, combined with black emblems, it still reduces your cooldowns by quite a lot. Last patch they probably were up here. Now it goes back down here. You can start thinking of just going straight up special attack again instead of the cooldown reduction items. XP share is used by a few, that's for sure. Then we have Leftovers, not played at all. Rockyham is not played at all. I know there's some Rockyham fans out there, but yeah. Leftovers still the worst item though. Leftovers is by far the worst item in the entire game. Absolutely cannot recommend playing this. Then we have Scope Lens, which I think is not used by a lot of Pokemon, but just the item is one of the best items you can potentially have in the game. 6% straight up cooldown reduction is absolutely insane, right? It's absolutely insane. 6% crit rate, I mean, with extra crit damage as well. This item is super, super good for anyone who uses any sort of crit rate, and it deserves to be in the first spot. Also, it's the best level 30 item you can have. Straight up, the best level 30 item. Score Sheet is finding a comeback in the current meta, thanks to scoring being much, much better. So I think I can put it into use a good amount. I for sure see more Score Sheets on this map than I've ever seen before. Of course, except for when Score Sheet obviously was very OP. But it has gotten popular again, thanks to, again, scoring and even Goal Getter being a decent item. Then we have Special Specs, is only used by really Gengar and Mr. Mime, but still a decent item, so used by a few. Weakness Policy is actually used a good amount. It's a decent item. You can play on almost any special attackers, or physical attacker that can stay in a fight much longer. A decent item. Then we have Razor Claw, which is a very good item. Straight up as well, if your Pokemon can use this item is super, super good. And still not used, sadly. I think it's used a good amount, but I would still rather put it up here as a very, very good item. Then we have Wise Glasses, which is used a good amount. Yeah, it's just a very basic item. Gives you a bit more special attack. It's just a bit safer version of special attacks and used by, backline special attackers. Then we have Floatstone, which might be controversial, but I think it's a very good item now. Yes, I think Floatstone is a good item on this map. Maybe I'm hallucinating, but every time I don't have this item on right now, I feel like I'm so slow. Only problem is, your Pokemon really has to allow this slot to be open. If you have 3 items that are kind of required, you can't really run it. It doesn't matter what, I think Floatstone will slowly become more popular when people just realize that running around the map is just very strong in general. And again, every time I don't have it, equipped, I just noticed how much slower I am. The map is much bigger. Again, Floatstone got a buff and now has a much less or like much lower reactivation time. So just by 5 seconds now, you start getting Floatstone and you can sprint from top to bot lane. It's very good in late game when you want to go score, run back to defend, run back to Rayquaza. It helps you quite a lot in late game macro decisions to just be fast around the map. And Master Band, no brainer, one of the best items in the game. Yeah, actually I'm going to put Floatstone into here for now. You know what? Let's not be too over, let's not overdo it yet. Let's just put it used a good amount, because it's honestly only used a good amount, right? So yeah, and then we have Muscle Band obviously up here. Very, very insane item. So that's it for the hate items. I think it looks quite good. Now we take a look at the better items very fast. Let's just start at the top with always good. We have the eject button. Right here, we have the eject button, always a good item, right? It allows you to disengage, it allows you to engage, it allows to give any Pokemon that has no sorts of ability to have some mobility. So same with X-Speed, these two items are a bit different still. One of them has a higher cooldown with the eject button, but eject button allows you to dodge things a bit easier, while X-Speed, you can still get hit by certain things. So let's say you want to get out of a Talonflame Unite, right, or Gardevoir Unite. X-Speed's not going to help you, but eject button still will allow you to get out of those things easier. That is the main difference, but X-Speed has lower cooldown, it can be used much more often, and it also allows you to get faster around the map. You can actually X-Speed into a team fight and, make it somewhere much, much faster. Then I think full heal is also always good, especially right now against Mr. Mime. It's one of a rare Mr. Mime counter where you can actually full heal a power swap and the power swap disappears from you. So yeah, you can full heal power swap. Also very good against Mr. Mime's Unite right now, which is used a lot. Again, Mr. Mime is in every game, which allows you to not be Shane CC'd or Shane stunned forever. Solid options, I think, is X-Attack. If you just want more damage, it's totally fine. Obviously a bit riskier. I do think in general this item is pretty decent right now. And then we also have, what is it, Goal Getter. I think Goal Getter is a solid option now. Of course, your Pokemon has been made for it. If your Pokemon is not made to use Goal Getter, it's quite bad. So like on someone like Gardevoir or Espeon, you shouldn't be using it. Otherwise, on someone like Talonflame, Greedent, Dragonite, Crustle, right, it's quite good right now. And even players like Absola are using it. I think I want to make a day where I only play Goal Getter builds all day and see how they go on like every single Pokemon. But in general, I don't mind seeing Goal Getter anymore on a Pokemon, unless again, if my Cinderace in jungle has Goal Getter, I'm still would be like, oh, this is gonna be a tough game. If my Talonflame runs around it, my Gengar, I don't mind it too much anymore, as long as they get value out of it, right? Then we have Can Be Used, which I think is a bit rough. I think Potion can be used. I'm not a big fan of it. There's some Pokemon that can use it, like Greedent or Trevenant or Slowbro, but in general I think it's not very good. Like, can be used doesn't mean you should be using it. I think all of these options are better right now to use for yourself. Especially like on someone like Greedent, I'd rather use a Goal Getter now. Or, eject button still or X-Speed is still better, but it can be used. And then what I wouldn't use right now is Slow Smoke. Slow Smoke, I think, just doesn't do anything in this current meta. Slow Smoke is very good at team fighting, but team fights are much less now. It's much more, you have to be much more on your own, so it doesn't really get much value. In general, then we have Fluffy Tail as well, which I don't think Fluffy Tail, I think it's not great on this map at all. You can go for objectives, right? They're very important still too, but it's not really that game-changing to go for last hits on them anymore. Rayquaza is also very hard to take down, so I think in general Fluffy Tail lost a lot of value. Of course, if you invade the enemy jungle, you can still get away with doing things, but in general I think Fluffy Tail has dropped a lot and I would currently not recommend using it. So yeah, let me know what you think about this tier list and I hope you guys enjoyed this video.